Greetings YouTube and welcome to my latest weapons build. I'm going to make a pick. And I'm going to make a pick that's going to have 3 impact points on it. And I'm going to be using this piece here as the shaft. And this is a piece of channel stock, of square stock that has had a channel taken into it. I'll be kind of ignoring that. That's going to be in the back. It's not going to be worried. This is going to be the front. It's got some stuff I need to remove. This is old welds that are broken. This is a piece of salvage from work. Somebody was throwing these away, and I'm like, well, I'll take them. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to be using 1/2-inch threaded rod as my points. And I'm thinking I'm going to use 7, 6, and 5-inch. Going to use 3. And I'm probably going to come in 3/4 of an inch to start. And then I'm thinking I'm going to go 1.5, like 1.5 and 1.5 to get the 3 points in here. I don't want them too far down. I want the impacts here. But once I get them cut, and once I get the points on them, I'm going to lay them out. I'm going to lay them out. I'm going to make these first, then lay them out and see if what spacing looks best to me aesthetically. And then I'll go ahead and drill the holes for this. Again, this is free. This I purchased new. It wasn't cheap. I can't remember how much it was though. And these are part of a lot I got of fasteners at an estate sale, and I picked up, I don't know, a couple thousand fasteners of all different varieties for $50. It was an astounding deal. I have yet to mount them up on my wall. I need to do that, but I do have them in a place where I can look through them with a certain degree of organization, which is refreshing. So I lucked out, and the guy who I purchased these from, well, I didn't purchase from them. I purchased them from his son. The guy in question who put this collection of fasteners together is no longer with us. So yeah, I'm using fasteners that used to belong to somebody else who's now a dead dude. But that's the nature of estate sales. I don't mind that. I wear clothing from dead dudes too. I don't have no problem with that either. So these were wicked cheap. I mean, like much less expensive than I would have paid for them at any kind of big box store. So that's cool. This is free and this was new. So the whole cost for this whole project is gonna come in probably under $10 when you take into account how much of this rod I'm going to use, because I'm going to have the rest of it left over that I can use for some other projects. So this will come back again, and I also have 2 more pieces of this to use. I'm probably going to put a 1/4 20 hole with a couple of cap nuts here on a threaded rod at the end to act as the stop for your hand. So I'm not going to wrap this. It's too big. For me at least, this is a good size all by itself. If I wrap it, it would get too big. So instead of wrapping it, I'm going to put a 1/4 20 hole here this way and put 2 cap nuts on the either side, and that will give me a non-damaging, a non-dangerous stop for your hand when you're sliding down, so you don't go off the end. But I will be deburring this thing seriously, grinding off all these broken welds and such. This was part of a wagon that we have, wagons. We have many of them at work that we put bundles of inserts on, and apparently one of them fell apart. I'd like to know where the rest of the wagon is, because I would gladly take it home, even if it meant I have to take my angle grinder to work and cut it into pieces I can fit in my car, because the whole damn thing is made out of square stock, and I do loves me some square stock. So nice that I didn't have to cut it. It comes pre-sized for me. Wicked cheap fasteners. And relatively expensive threading rod. I haven't found a cheap source of large threaded rod. I have occasionally lucked into thinner threaded rod. I got an entire bunch of 3/8s from work once for nothing. It was great. I'm still using some of that. If anyone ever wants to give me presents for Christmas, 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 1/2 inch threaded rod, that's the best present you can give me. Alrighty, so next stop is going to be whacking this into sections and then trying to figure out how I want to put points on the ends. My points are cut, and I got the length, and I got to put the points on them, obviously, and I decided to go with 5, 4.5, and 4. And I'm going to put them at a 1.5 inch spacing, because I think the proportions for this length of shaft, that's what I want. So now I'm going to knock off all the crud on this that isn't stuff I want to keep. And then the next step is going to be to drill holes. And I'll probably get the knocking the crud off bit done today, and I'm probably going to call that good. Doing these points was quite tedious, and my hands are kind of sore after having to hold a piece of steel very tightly for a very long time to get those the way I wanted them. Alrighty, so I'll grind this up, knock all the crud off of it that I don't want to keep, and then it'll be time for drilling holes. All the holes that I need for this project have been completed. These 3 here, I have done through a hole here. I actually started on this side because it was flat, because this side is bent, and I didn't really feel like bothering fixing that, because again, it's just a whole post-apocalyptic theme kind of thing. Now that side was not that difficult to do. I used an actual 1/2-inch drill bit because I figured it would be easier. This is fairly thick material to be using a like one of those tapered hole opening drill bits. I don't like those on the thicker materials. So, but coming out the other side was kind of a pain in the butt because I had to deal with this slot. So I had to go very, very slowly, because if I went too quickly, the flutes of the drill bit would catch, and then the drill would stop, back off, come back down through, catch again. The only one, in fact, the only one I did that didn't catch was this one. Both of these holes caught on me at least once, if not twice. So now that's finished. So now I need to put the nut on the inside, so I can then pass them through and put the nut on the outside. Now the outside is going to be flush, and the inside, of course, the inside one will be up against here, and now I'll just sandwich the two together. At least that's the goal. So first I need to do is I'm going to put 3 nuts onto each of these things. Now the threads on these are not great. I did not realize this because one of the ends I was testing at the store to make sure that it was the right size I wanted worked just fine. But the threads further down further down the rod, I should say, the threads are a little on the rough side. So I'm going to have a kind of a bitch of a time getting this to work. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to put this into a vice grip right here near the tip, because the tip's not going to... I don't care if I crush the threads down here, because I'm not using the threads down here, and then working my way this way with the nuts until I get to beyond where I need them to be, so that I can get them like this. So it's going to have a 1/2 inch there, and then I have to have a nut on the inside there, or an inch further in. Oh, so that's going to be oh so exciting. And then the next thing you see may be the completely assembled project. We'll see if it happens. So here we have the completed project. This went together pretty easy. I did have to run the nuts through this. I had to clamp the bolts, the threaded rods rather, and I guess technically they're bolts. Clamp the threaded rods down, and then run the nuts all the way through. And then I had to when I put them back in, I had to grab these and hold the threaded rod, so that I could move the 2 nuts against each other. Because if I tried just moving one of the nuts, the whole thing would turn, because they would just bind. Like I said, the threads on this are not great. Thankfully, I don't have to run the nut, the full length of the threaded rod, just here. But yeah, so I ended up having to tighten this while it was still in the vise to get these to come together, so I could get the back ones all flush. I also installed this. Now ideally it would have been better to have this in line with these, but because of the groove in the back, that really wasn't possible to do that easily. So I wanted to have it to be as secure as possible, so I went crosswise. It still works as a stop, but it would be a more efficient stop were it in line with the strike points themselves. But beggars can't be choosers. Again, I got this for nothing. So this has been my latest project. I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to call this thing. I mean, obviously it's a pick of some variety. It's got 3 teeth, but I've used trident numerous times. The word trident, because trident means 3 teeth. I don't want to reuse it again. So I don't know, scrapper's pick. It's got 3 points, so the name should be incorporated. The fact that it's not just a single point, because pick does kind of mean 1 point. The actual digging tool only has 1 point. That, for that matter, your toothpick only has 1 point. So maybe call it the Devil's Comb. How's that sound? The Devil's Comb. Yeah, I think I kind of like that because it's got to get. So we're talking about a hairbrush, except you apply directly to forehead, except not yours. So yeah, we're gonna call this the Devil's Comb. I'm quite happy with it. I'm gonna take this outside and get some stills for this video as well as my DeviantArt page. Now, if you don't follow me on DeviantArt and on Instagram, you should. DeviantArt is the permanent solution, the permanent location of my stills for all of my builds, and Instagram is where I post bargains I find and scrap I find, sneak previews, and of course cute cat pictures, and who doesn't love a cute cat picture? Okay folks, thank you for being here. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope that you come back for the next one.